So, let's say you've been very busy running some side hustles that, let's just say, aren't exactly legal. Maybe it's insider trading, maybe it's smuggling, or maybe you just hit a jackpot from a business that shouldn't even exist. Either way, you're rolling in cash. Sounds great, right? Wrong. That money is worthless unless you can make it look clean. Spend it too openly, and sooner or later, alphabet agencies like the FBI, IRS, and DEA will start connecting the dots. And when they do, decades behind bars. That's why, for criminals and the ultra-rich alike, money laundering isn't just an option, it's a necessity.
Money laundering enables cartels to produce the most lethal thing that they produce around the world, and that's corruption. It enables them to be able to control countries, presidents of countries.
And today, we're pulling back the curtain on how it really works. The goal of money laundering is simple. Take dirty money and make it look like it came from a legitimate source. Without it, criminals would have no way to spend their earnings without drawing attention. But cleaning cash isn't as simple as just dumping it into a bank. Law enforcement has cracked down over the years, flagging suspicious transactions and setting strict reporting requirements. In some cases, getting caught can mean 35 years in prison, or fines triple the amount laundered. To avoid that, there are 4 fundamental principles every money launderer follows. Number 1, hide the source. If people can tell where the money came from, the game's over before it even starts. Number 2, change the form. Nobody wants to lug around millions in small bills. Consolidating money into higher denominations makes it easier to move. Number 3, break the trail. If law enforcement can follow the money straight to you, you've failed. The key is layering transactions so it's nearly impossible to trace. Number 4, stay in control. More people involved means more risk. The best operations keep things tight and avoid loose ends. With those rules in place, it's time to move on to the actual process of laundering dirty money. Before you can make illegal money look legal, you first need to get it into the financial system. And this is the riskiest part. Back in the day, criminals used a simple trick called smurfing. They'd hire runners nicknamed Smurfs to deposit small amounts of cash into multiple bank accounts across different locations. Not too little to be suspicious, not too much to trigger alarms. A small team of just 10 Smurfs, each depositing $200 into 20 different accounts, could launder $40,000 a day over $10 million a year without raising eyebrows. But things have changed. Now, banks track cash transactions over $10,000 and use AI-driven algorithms to flag unusual patterns. Smurfing isn't as easy as it once was, which is why modern laundering operations rely more on front businesses. One of the most common ways to clean money is through businesses that handle a lot of cash. Ever wonder why some tiny restaurants in high-crime areas only take cash? That's no accident. The trick is to mix illegal cash with real customer revenue. For example, a restaurant that serves hundreds of people daily could quietly add an extra $500 a day in sales without raising suspicion. That's an extra $182,500 a year in clean money. Scale that up, say, 10 restaurants doing the same thing, and suddenly you've got $1.8 million of dirty money turning legal every year. But greed is the downfall of most money launderers. Start pushing too much fake revenue, and suddenly your business starts looking too successful. That's when banks, auditors, and law enforcement start paying attention. Stay under the radar, and you stay in the game. Once the money is inside the system, the next step is to scrub away any trace of its origins. For small operations, this can be as simple as inflating receipts, overcharging customers, and quietly blending in the dirty money. But when you're moving millions, things get more complicated. This is where shell companies come in. By setting up multiple dummy corporations in different countries, especially ones with weak financial oversight, money can be shuffled between accounts under the guise of fake transactions. One company invoices another, money moves across borders, and by the time it's done, any paper trail leading to the original source is gone. A detective trying to trace the money? Out of luck. Laundering money is all about staying unnoticed, and the biggest mistake criminals make is getting greedy. For example, if you're laundering money through a business, the smart move is to keep deposits consistent, a little bit extra each day, nothing too flashy. For example, if you're laundering money through a business, the smart move is to keep deposits consistent, a little bit extra each day, nothing too flashy. The dumb move? Suddenly tripling the amount you're injecting, trying to clean too much too fast. That's how you attract attention. Banks and regulators look for sudden changes. If a restaurant that normally deposits $5,000 a day suddenly jumps to $50,000, red flags go up. The real pros don't get greedy. They keep it slow, steady, and undetectable. Once the money has been layered through different accounts and businesses, it's time for the final step, withdrawing it as clean, legal income. If done right, the money appears to come from legitimate businesses, taxable and ready to be spent. And even if law enforcement suspects what's happening, they won't have enough proof to act. But don't get too comfortable. Financial crime units are always adapting. And what worked yesterday might get you caught tomorrow. Here's the thing, cash is slowly dying. Society is shifting toward digital transactions, and while physical money isn't disappearing overnight, criminals are already moving to the next big thing, cryptocurrency. Though crypto isn't fully anonymous, it's still a wild west for money laundering. Law enforcement is struggling to keep up, and until they do, digital currencies offer a whole new way to clean dirty money. But no matter how the methods evolve, the fundamentals of laundering will always stay the same. Hide the source, change the form, break the trail, and keep control. Now, here's the harsh reality. Most people who try laundering money fail. And the reason? They follow old tricks instead of innovating. Everything we've covered so far is based on criminals who got caught. Law enforcement studies past cases, learns from them, and builds better ways to track illegal money. That means if you're using the same tactics as someone who got busted 10 years ago, you're already a step behind. And that's exactly why greed gets so many people caught. The moment someone thinks they've cracked the system, they push their luck depositing too much, moving too fast, or trusting the wrong people. Suddenly, a bank notices something odd. An investigator takes interest, and before you know it, the whole operation collapses. So, what separates the ones who get away with it from the ones who get locked up? Constantly adapting. The best launderers don't just copy what worked before. They stay ahead of law enforcement, always changing their methods before the system catches up. But even if you're careful, there's one more challenge that's impossible to ignore: the way money itself is changing. Cash has been the backbone of money laundering for decades, but here's the problem: the world is going cashless. Governments are pushing for digital payments. Banks are tracking transactions more aggressively, and even everyday purchases are shifting to card and crypto. That means criminals are being forced to adapt. Right now, cryptocurrency is the new frontier. It's fast, decentralized, and when used correctly, can be hard to trace. While crypto isn't 100% anonymous, it's still confusing enough for law enforcement that criminals have been flocking to it. And the legal system? They're still catching up. Some of the biggest money laundering cases in recent years have involved Bitcoin mixers, offshore crypto wallets, and entire laundering operations moving from cash to digital. And while governments are working on regulating crypto, it's still nowhere near as controlled as traditional banks. The message is clear: laundering isn't going anywhere, it's just evolving. And that means as long as criminals exist, so will the laundromats. And there you have it, the real playbook for how the rich and the reckless clean their dirty money. If you ever see a business that doesn't make sense, a tiny shop raking in absurd amounts of cash, or money moving in ways it shouldn't, and now you know why. This isn't just crime, it's a business. And like any business, those who do it well stay rich. Those who don't, they get caught. If you found this video interesting, make sure you hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more of these kinds of videos.